A hilarious new stand-up special from comedy legend Jim Gaffigan, The Skinny, is coming to Hulu November 22nd. This Thanksgiving, see Jim in a whole new light as he gives you the inside scoop on everything from parenting teenagers to weight loss and gaslighting family members. For everyone in need of a happy hour, the new hilarious stand-up special, Jim Gaffigan, The Skinny, premieres November 22nd, streaming on Hulu.
This Thanksgiving, Butterball wants you to really connect. Let's get back to laughing around the table, sharing stories, and making memories. Let's talk like we used to. We'll help with the turkey so you can enjoy being together. Visit Butterball.com for turkey tips.
Ask me, ask Iliza anything. It's time to ask. Ask me all your questions. Leave them in the Instagram comment section. Leave them on your Twitter or leave them on your Facebook. We'll see them, we'll read them, then we'll give you answers. You know it, I've got it. I've got the answer, you ask me. I'll tell you anything. I did something that required not a monumental amount of effort, but a pretty decent amount of effort this morning in an effort to be like maybe a little less anxious or maybe not like have to take like a violent poop later. I did not allow coffee to be the first thing I put in my stomach this morning.
What was
I feel like you don't drink coffee. I was like, drink your water, and I was like, put a layer in your stomach. And I am not hungry when I wake up. I'm not hungry for a while in the morning. And I was just like, I need something. And I went to the cupboard and there were these like lentil crackers that I think have like curry powder on them. And I was like, whatever. People eat these things. So I just ate like 2. And I was like, this is horrible to be like the first thing. And then so I heard my mom in my head, like, have a banana. So I ate a banana and I drank some water. And now I'm going to have right now my first sip of coffee here at 8:30 in the morning.
Oh my gosh. I drink like an iced, like coffee delights, iced vanilla latte, cold in the milk section, you know?
Yeah, it's totally milk. Just don't turn the label over. It's totally milk.
It's coffee, supposedly.
I also was watching Shark Tank last night and they had this thing about like I think it was mushroom coffee. I was like half paying attention. I always thought mushroom coffee was just ground up mushrooms like lion's mane and all these different cordyceps. I didn't realize it was mushroom in with coffee. And I'm like, well, that's tenuous conclusions that the mushrooms do anything, although I would love them to. People say that, but I thought it was like a substitute for, and everything like Four Sigmatic brand. I'm like, ooh, mushroom coffee. They're like, yeah, it's coffee with a little bit of mushroom in it. And you're like, okay, that doesn't solve the anxiety that comes with drinking a lot of coffee.
Yeah, let me just drink coffee then.
I know there's like mud water. I don't mean to like do free advertising, but like there are mud water is not coffee, but a lot of them were just like, I think they like tried to sell it as mushroom. People were like, we need actual coffee. Like, okay, what if we put the two together?
What?
So now I'm just like, I'll just drink coffee.
Is this like when for a long time people were like, you just put a big hunk of butter in your coffee and start your day?
No, that's totally different. That's bullet coffee. And that's just for men who want to biohack their productivity and live for fucking ever and women on keto. Anyways, I'm a gross out because I'll get an iced coffee the day before. This was Noah's move. He was like, order your iced coffee, do it without ice, and then add ice at home. That way it doesn't dilute on the way home. So for Mother's Day, he got me a big Phil's coffee and there's no ice. And even though the cream's already in it, I just sip on it for over 48 hours.
Yeah.
Drag it around like a carcass.
Did you have a nice
How was
Mother's
my Mother's Day? Thank you.
There we go.
It was great. This was the first Mother's Day where I got art. You know, like, so the school writes a little message and she does her little handprint. And so it was her hand was a flower and her 2 feet were made a butterfly, like 2 footprints made butterfly wings. And I was like, my daughter has big feet. She got big,
She had
thick
to get
feet.
those feet. She had to put ink on those feet, and then the teacher had to clean off a bunch of kids' feet.
I'm realizing that now as I'm looking at it. I guess so.
That sucks for them.
Yeah, Noah did a recipe test for this cookbook he's working on with this really talented chef named Naisha Arrington. He made one of her breakfast burritos, and it was tasty. And my Mother's Day was just me being like, I'm going to go sit in the other room. I'm going to go back to bed. And then we got like just very like relaxed. We took Ethan in the pool.
Oh.
Noah claims he pooped. I don't think he did. We'll never know. Noah was like, it just looked like a bunch of dirt in the pool all of a sudden. And I was like, I don't know. He's like, we need to get out. And I was like, that's what the chlorine's for. I also made the parenting. Sierra we were getting ready. So she's very fair skinned. So I got her in a long sleeve bathing suit, sunscreen, sunglasses, full floppy hat. Like she's like full Grey Gardens. And she's like all bundled up. And she goes, I have to pee. I gotta go pee. And half the sentence came out of my mouth. I go, oh, you can just go in the pool. Nope. You know what? You're right. You'll discover that soon enough. You go pee. And then it was just a nice, relaxing day, honestly.
That's perfect.
I was going to say this is bottom of the cob, but I'm just going to say it because you asked me how my Mother's Day was. Unpopular opinion. I could really do it. Not a fight me. It's not a fight me because we're just going to do your fight me's when you guys write in. Okay. I could really do without men who I'm not related to or had nothing to do with the conception of my baby wishing me happy Mother's Day. Like texting me to wish me that. I know that you are taking a shit on a Sunday morning and maybe you're scrolling through Instagram and you see me or you think of me. I totally buy that. And you're like, what can I say? My mom was like, what's the big deal? I'm like, I guess because it then warrants some sort of response on my behalf. And then you spend your morning like constantly like, oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. Like it means nothing. It means nothing.
Maybe the issue is less men and more people that you don't speak to that much that now are opening a line of communication using this as the wedge.
Okay, weirdly, it was enough men that I noticed it and Matt Rife, which was totally fine that he did it for some reason. But maybe it's because I had seen him recently.
Yeah.
We like shots of it together. Maybe it's because I'd seen him recently. I had there was at least 4 other men. Happy Mother's Day. And it's totally harmless. Like these are people it's just, if I have not texted with you in a meaningful way or seen you physically in over 5 years.
Right. So it's that this is now opening a conversation where it's like, do we have to say more than, because if you talk to someone a lot and they say Happy Mother's Day, you can be like heart, thumbs up, because it's not, you talk to them enough that it's not a big deal. But if it's some rando, then it's like, oh, why are you reaching out?
I guess, I mean, it's not dissimilar to like, hey, happy holidays. And you're like, I've never saved this number. You've written me happy holidays every year. I don't know who this is. I've never written back. Yeah. I think it's because it somehow demands some sort of response. And I do, as a very sensitive person, and that's why I respond. But like as someone who feels like I have an addiction to my phone and I really do my best, like not to look at it on a Sunday or not to look at it first thing when I wake up, then it felt like I woke up late because I was performing at the Brea Improv and you get home late and you're just tired. And the first thing you have are like, it's like work responses. Like I have to write these like, oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. Like you don't want to come off as ungrateful that people think about you, but it's not a real exchange of gratitude. It's not like a birthday text where you're like, yes, thank you so much. It's like, I don't know. I know that other women have to be feeling this way. And I think it comes on the heels of like, I read this article that was basically like, a phone is not an electronic leash. Like if I don't answer your email right away, like that's because I don't want to. Like this demand that like I've written something, and who knows why people write that stuff. It's like a little bit more okay when a woman does it. I think I sent one independent Happy Mother's Day to a non-mother. To a non-mother of mine.
Oh, I was
and then like one, I sent one to Jody and I sent one to my friend Rebecca because it's her first Mother's Day. But in general, it's just like, let people just be.
Fall has fallen. Winter is on its way. The days are shorter. but just because, well, they feel shorter. And just because the days feel shorter doesn't mean your to-do list gets any shorter. You still have to power through your busy days. And a great way to do that is with nutritious food from Factor's no prep, no mess meals. At the end of a short day in the fall or the winter, the last thing you want to do is have to cook. Factor has got you covered from breakfast, snacks, dinner, anything in between. Factor has easy, nutritious options to keep you fueled, like their chicken Florentine with spinach and garlic chili cauliflower. You bet. That's what I want to make myself at the end of a day where I am exhausted and my husband isn't home. Whether you like routine or you enjoy mixing things up, Factor has you covered with 35 different delicious meals every week and over 60 additional convenience options you can add on, like keto cookies, pressed juices, and smoothies. And because Factor meals are chef prepared and dietitian approved, you're going to love not only Factor's meals taste, but also how they support your goals, even if your goal was just making yourself dinner. Head to factormeals.com/Iliza50 and use code Iliza50 to get 50% off your first box and 20% off your next month. That's code Iliza50 at factormeals.com/Iliza50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active. The holidays are here. And for a lot of us, the holidays mean decorating, hosting, celebrating. For me, it means a lot of traveling, and nothing feels better year-round, but especially during the cozy holidays, than a restful night's sleep in soft, luxurious sheets. Boll & Branch's signature sheets are made with the finest 100% organic cotton, and they get softer with every single wash. You already know that I got Boll & Branch this summer when I needed breathable sheets to sleep in, but this holiday season, I'm actually gifting some of my friends and family Boll & Branch's Ultimate Softness Bundle. I get to choose a signature hem sheet set in any color, a signature hem pillow set, and a waffle bed blanket. And they're all getting juniper because I think it's a classy color. This way you know you have something nice to sleep on when you visit. It's the perfect gift for you and them. Gift you and your loved ones a better night's sleep with Boll & Branch. And right now is their best offer of the entire year. For 25% off plus free shipping on your first set of sheets, head to bollandbranch.com/Iliza. That's Boll & Branch, BOLLAND branch.com/Iliza for 25% off. Limited time only, exclusions apply. See site for details. So finally, fall is here. I have been looking forward to it. I have had a hard year in a good way. You know, like I had a baby. I have been on a nonstop tour, nonstop traveling, and it's been hot. So I'm looking forward to, of course, pumpkin spice, everything, cooler weather, and slipping into a cozy sweater from Quince. I've talked about Quince before. Quince has beautiful leather jackets, cotton cardigans, soft denim, and so much more. All Quince items are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. Dressing expensive doesn't have to be expensive. Their clothing is beautiful, it's durable, it stands the test of time, and it's what I like to call a capsule wardrobe. I got an Italian wool cocoon coat. That's one of those, you know, it's got like a European collar and it covers my butt so I can walk around New York City and not be chilly. And Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices. Get cozy in Quince's high-quality wardrobe essentials. Go to quince.com/Iliza for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/Iliza to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/Iliza.
I'm just saying.
Well, luckily,
All right, you know what?
Luckily, no men that are writing to you or listening to this podcast have their feelings hurt.
Like, luckily, no men listen to this podcast. No, it's not even about feelings hurt. I think that there's something invasive about guys like in your space. And I remember I got like raked over the coals on the Joe Rogan podcast years ago.
It makes me
I
so
mentioned,
mad.
I'm still right.
You were right. I was there. I was there when the story happened. And the way that people talk about, it makes me so mad because it's so clear that they are not women.
Oh, yeah. Just in case people are unfamiliar, I basically was telling a story about how, was this the night of the night I got sued? Yes, it was.
Was it that? Yeah, probably. Because it was there. Yeah. So
I think, and you know what?
It was a show there.
I don't think it was.
I don't know.
It was a show there. It was a show at a place. And we were outside. Emily was with me. And it was like a group of like 4 or 5 women.
Mm-hmm.
And a guy came up to us who did not look well.
No,
did not
staggering.
look like
where somebody where anyone of any gender would clock it and go, okay, I'm keeping an eye on this situation.
Okay, this guy is off. This wasn't just like a guy that like looks like your coworker, and he was like, "Excuse me, yeah." I don't think he said, "Excuse me." Like, you have a lighter, and it's like nobody here is smoking a cigarette. There was no reason to talk to us, and men got so angry that as a woman, I was like, oh my God, that made me feel unsafe for a second because this person was clearly like mentally incapacitated. And I got roasted on Joe Rogan, like, oh, don't ask her for a lighter. It's like, yeah, get out of my fucking space. Like, respect that women have to move through this world like a little bit more guarded. Of course, I don't love a borderline homeless person asking me for something that if you had the power of deduction and clearly you don't because you're on something, you would see that we probably don't have.
Well,
Excuse me, do you have turkey sandwich?
Let's say this because, look, I know you don't like to qualify things when it's clear that you're right, and you are right. I will qualify and say, obviously, it is very sad when someone is unwell and does not have the help they need. That is not the question. The issue is when you are a woman outside at 11 p.m. at night, you can tell when someone approaches you and they are using something as an excuse to get in your space. It's very different than a genuine question. There is a way that he could have asked for a lighter that would have been a genuine request. But this was, and you can tell, asking
and I'm not stupid.
As a purpose to initiate conversation and get involved and stand in the middle of the group. And that is a very different feeling.
Because, by the way, look, we live in LA. We have a lot of homeless people. He was not giving homeless vibes.
No.
This man was not in like shredded clothes with no shoes. It was like, if that were the case, I'd be like, sorry, man. Like, I've never really had like a bad run-in with a homeless person. I'm sure there's plenty of them. This was something weirder, and I didn't want to stick around to find out what it was. It's like when a guy's like, can I ask you a question? You're like, fuck no.
Yes.
Like, I'm so not interested. And I think men have trouble, and I say this from like a place of education, I think they have trouble understanding what it's like to go through this world vulnerable and I guess physically less strong than half the population. So
I would say to any of these men that were mad about what you said, if you were out there with your girlfriend and a guy approached her in the exact same way, you would be like, get out of here, man. Like it was not an innocent request. You would not be like, let me give you one. You'd be like, hey, why is he talking to my girlfriend?
It's just the gaslighting of like, oh, you're being a bitch when you actually have a very valid concern about the way in which you move through this society. But I don't like to hear that feedback because I've only heard a few women. Anyways, don't text me Happy Mother's Day.
It relates because I think you're right that you can tell when someone is texting you and they're using this thing, Mother's Day, as an excuse to open a line of communication.
Well, what's weird, I don't know it's that. I don't mean to like shoot down my ally here because I would say, oh, thank you. And then they said nothing back. So in a weird way, it's not that it's worse, but it's even proving that it's even more useless. Do you want, like, now where you're like, well, did that. Now I'll just go to Trader Joe's.
They're going down their list of mothers they know. Okay, check. Next one.
It would have been annoying, but at least if they were like, how is it? Like, are you loving it? Like a genuine thing.
Right.
I think it's also just personally stems from like, I hate, and I've said this before, farting out like heart, thanks, love it, LOL. And so I just, I'm trying to practice just not answering stuff anymore. But don't gaslight me. You need a fucking lighter. Okay.
All right, well, you want to do fight me?
I do. Yeah, now that I've fought, I'm ready to fight me. Yeah. Oh, let me introduce it. It's time for fight me. Ding, ding.
So maybe a controversial take, and maybe you and Noah can get in on both of this, especially since he is a chef. That ketchup is amazing on spaghetti. Fight me.
Oh! Why would you incite such violence here at the beginning of the pod? Oh my, especially since he's a chef. You mean especially since he's a person? Like, especially because he's not someone who's missing a tongue. Ketchup is good on spaghetti. Look, I don't like ketchup, my husband, I think this is his greatest wound. I'm not like a huge pasta fan. I think good is subjective. I guess if you enjoy it, it's fine, but it's the kind of thing that an alien would eat. And they're like, no, I'm totally a human. Ketchup on spaghetti. It's the kind of thing that like a Russian sleeper cell would eat in America, like spaghetti and ketchup, right, commie buddy? Like, it seems like you read a handbook on how to be American. You were like, I'm not 6 cats in a trench coat. I'm a real person.
I can't even judge someone, though, for a condiment thing. Because I'm like, you do you. Like, people that put ranch on pizza, people that dip their fry in their Frosty, people that put A1 on their steak. I'm like, I don't care. I like a sauce. If that's your favorite sauce, have fun.
Those are all tasty things, but ketchup is seemingly instead of spaghetti sauce, of marinara sauce. That's what's weird.
I don't love marinara sauce, so I wouldn't put ketchup instead, but I would just put I would just eat a loose
you're a
noodle.
person. Because you're a real person who's like that.
This is the first fight me we've disagreed with. This is very exciting.
It sounds fucking gross, but I love that you wrote in. This is a safe space for you to adjust your taste and get a clue. I'm not going to tell my husband that. I'm not going to upset him. He's under a lot of stress. I'm not going to do that to him. But we love that you wrote in. So, make yourself a big old pile of Heinz and noodles. Noah?
Oh,
wait, Noah? Sorry, he just walked in. Listen to me. Here, I said Heinz and noodles. Here.
Just by itself seems insane. There's like versions of this in like I feel like in like a lot of like Southeast Asian like street noodle stuff where ketchup's like a condiment that gets done with other stuff. So there's a version of it. Sure, that's fine. But if you're just taking boiled plain spaghetti and putting ketchup on it, then I should introduce you to something called tomato sauce, and it's significantly better than ketchup. Ketchup is great, but you should also try something called a hamburger.
Ketchup is great, baby. Thank you. Pluck the AirPod out of his ear.
pluck it.
That's not the same as ranch on pizza, Emily.
All right.
All right. Let's get to the meat. We've gone through the skin, and now let's get into the meat and let's get down to the bone. Load it up.
Hi, Iliza, Emily, and the hottest Scotty, because there are so many Scots. I want to start by saying
What?
a hottest Scotty
in
in all
general.
the land. Yeah, in the world.
Yeah, true.
I want to start by saying you are right.
Thank you.
Recently,
Thank you so much. Good night, you guys. Thank you so much. Make sure to subscribe.
Recently, my father passed away, and it seems like people have been coming out of the woodwork to clear their conscience to my mother, almost 80, about knowing Dad was unfaithful. She was his caretaker for almost 20 years, married for 50, and had no idea that he had cheated through the first 30. She honestly wishes that no one had said anything. They should have when it was happening, not decades later when there is no recourse.
Oh.
She's left feeling like she's wasted her life with this unfaithful man who honestly didn't bring a lot of redeeming qualities to the table. So, where this ties in. My parents had an old man friend who I despise. He drops in unannounced several times a week. Usually, he will ask if mom has had breakfast, meaning he hasn't had breakfast and would like her to make something. He treats me like a guest in my parents' home, asking me condescendingly if I need anything or what brings you here today. He starts most of his sentences with, "Well, now, Samantha, I'm almost 40. We will call this man Bill." Bill has always hugged my mom when he arrives. That has recently been moved up to a kiss on the cheek with the hug.
He loves your mom.
Last week, he gave her his hug, a kiss on the cheek, and then said, "Now, Susan, if you wanted to, we could kiss on the lips." What the fuck, Bill? Who talks like that? Also, he has a sweet wife. Mom said, "No, we're not going to do that. We're just friends." His stay was brief that day, but he invited himself back a few days later. He had to get something off his chest. He let her know he didn't want her to feel uncomfortable, but thought she should know that Dad cheated on her. He then gave her the gross details of a bachelor party from the 80s. I'm so disgusted that this toad of a man is obviously trying to manipulate the situation in his favor by divulging this information without knowing he's not the only one who has told her about dad's behavior. I want to tell this man off so badly. Not only does this make my mother uncomfortable, but she is a meek woman of the generation/culture that is uncomfortable rocking the boat. I'm afraid that he's going to keep pushing and she doesn't have the skills to shut him down. I've recommended that she ask him not to come over without his wife. I asked her if she wanted my husband to tell Bill how it is, since we all need male representatives, maybe invent a fake boyfriend. My favorite idea is telling him myself to please go the fuck away and never come back. Every idea makes her as uncomfortable as seeing this man regularly. What action would you take if your mother was a meek woman in this position? I've used fake names because we're from a small town. I know his kids. He attends my mom's church and is part of her friend group. Thanks for helping this Midwest woman learn to grow a pair. I truly love your advice.
I guess I don't understand Bill's motivation. Is he trying to sleep with her? He just seems very like entitled to like touch her in her space, and he can see that she's vulnerable. Like, what is gained? It'd be one thing at first I was like, oh, because I was like, oh, he has a crush on her and he's like this lonely old guy, but he's married. He wants to sleep with your mom. I mean, that's that. He wants to sleep with your mom. That does hurt, because the other version is, you could have said something to your mom. People could have said it while he was cheating. And she, like a lot of women of the time, may have been like, well, I've got kids and this is what it is. This idea that like, oh, you could have told me then, but okay. But they didn't. And this is what's happening now. She knows. And by the way, he already revealed it. I guess I'm missing what you feel the motivation is now. What?
He does. This gross man Bill doesn't know that the mom knows that that the husband was cheating. So gross man Bill is approaching this vulnerable woman and trying to kiss her and stuff, and then is basically trying to manipulate. Like, well, your husband was cheating on you. I think it's kind of trying to be like, but I'm into you.
Yeah, but he only said that. Right. Is he saying that multiple times? Did he just say that once? Like, I can't tell if this is like a perpetual thing.
He said it like since being rejected. So when she said, we can't kiss on the mouth, we're just friends, well, your husband was cheating on you. All right.
Yeah.
Bill.
I mean, this guy is from like, it's a really fucked up, misogynistic, antiquated, weird, loaded, gaslighty, reverse psychology way of thinking. I think we get a lot of girls that write it. I mean, maybe we got a lot of Spitfires that listen to this. She's like, I'm going to tell him to fuck off. You're not doing that. You don't come from that kind of stock, and that's not how people speak to each other. And he's just shitty, but he's not like deliberately being horrific. He's just like a shitty guy. Like, if you do that, that pours gasoline on it. The next time he comes over, you answer the door. And you can say to him, I don't, you want to bring in your husband, fine, but like, you're not afraid of this guy. You could say to him, my mom is just not really seeing anyone right now, and she doesn't really want to make breakfast, and she's just not up to it. Like, you will lose nothing by not even cordially, but very plainly stating to him how she's feeling. And you could even say to him, the other day you said the thing about my dad cheating, and the truth is she already knew all of that. And she's processing things right now. So we will let you know when she's feeling better. And because the good part is his reaction doesn't matter at all. He's not your dad. He's not your family. He's not someone you care about. If anything, he should be worried about her happy to see him at church. This is that thing where like a guy, I don't know why this is turning into like a critique of men episode. It just happened too. But like this guy is doing. It just
happened too. I chose this question first purposefully.
Well, no, the stuff. Okay. In the moment, you improv that? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. This guy is doing whatever makes him comfortable and seeing what he can get, and you're left to pick up the pieces, but you don't have to. His response, he should be the one that's uncomfortable, but instead it's like, well, we're friends with him and we'll see him at church. He should be the one who's nervous about that. And if he says anything sassy, be like, well, we can just ask your wife how she feels about you saying that you should kiss my mom on the mouth. You don't have to say any of this, but you can I think your mom needs a little bit of a protector right now because she's never had one.
Yeah.
At least that's what I would do. I would not feel reserved at all about being like, she's not seeing anyone right now. She doesn't want to do any work. And by the way, like you said that to her, and I don't know why you said that, but just know that she already knew, so it came off as super manipulative. And if you want to talk about it, we can talk about it another time. You will lose nothing by, that's what I would do. I know it might not be right, but that's what I would do.
I would say ideally it's like your mom tells him he can't come in, right? Like your mom at some point needs to set boundaries. Right now, don't make her do that. I think you should get a Ring doorbell or Google doorbell. Get a video doorbell so that she doesn't have to answer the door. And if it's him, you either don't answer, or even if you're not at the house, if you have it on your phone, you can talk to the doorbell and be like, "Hey, Bill, mom's busy. She can't make you breakfast. What was it that you needed?"
Treat him like a child. What did you need?
Yeah.
We can't come to the door. I don't like the idea of being trapped in your own house. It sounds like you're at your mom's a lot, so you could open that door.
If you're there,
it's not the worst idea if your husband gets involved, but I also, I guess I just don't live in a world where I've ever like asked my husband. I'm not criticizing it. I totally agree with you. And I've given that advice where I'm like, have the man do it. But it sounds like you're more than equipped to do it, and you can do it. Just treat him like a misguided child.
Did you need something? Because once he gets, oh no, I was just here to talk. All right, well, you can send her an email.
Because he knows deep down like what he's trying to do.
Yeah.
And if you don't give it any air, you're like, nope, she can't. She's busy. We're not doing that right now.
Mm-hmm.
Make him say it. Make him come out and be like, listen, I'm trying to fuck your mom by making her feel even worse about herself. Because that's my space.
Yeah.
I just think this isn't like a boss or a coworker or a relative where you're like, and it's going to be weird. Like, you don't care what this guy thinks about you.
Mm-mm. No.
Puff up for your mom. Your mom's been through a lot.
Yeah. Again, it's like maybe down the road she can be like, no, I don't want you here, but you can do it for her for now.
Yeah, the Ring doorbell should be for her, but like you shouldn't have to hide in your own house. Like, I'm not making you breakfast. What?
Gross.
A hilarious new stand-up special from comedy legend Jim Gaffigan, The Skinny, is coming to Hulu November 22nd. This Thanksgiving, see Jim in a whole new light as he gives you the inside scoop on everything from parenting teenagers to weight loss and gaslighting family members. For everyone in need of a happy hour, the new hilarious stand-up special, Jim Gaffigan, The Skinny, premieres November 22nd, streaming on Hulu.
This Thanksgiving, Butterball wants you to really connect. Let's get back to laughing around the table, sharing stories, and making memories. Let's talk like we used to. We'll help with the turkey so you can enjoy being together. Visit Butterball.com for turkey tips.
Hi, Iliza and crew. I've recently been spending more time with friends/roommates I haven't seen since undergrad as I finished my master's and moved back home. One of these people is a friend of mine who has always been the type to goad others into saying rude shit as a bit or do things that are frankly off-putting as a joke. Well, she's been a good friend despite this throughout the years. We've kept in touch and I was away for a little over 2 years. I'm not so sure now. About a month ago, I drove to meet her and her boyfriend for a concert. This was fine and the concert went well, but things took a turn for the worse after the concert when her boyfriend was driving me back to my car from where we all parked for carpooling purposes. The conversation landed on this old gag that her and my old roommate used to pull, where every time I went to take a piss, all conversations stopped so they could listen and comment on how loud I pee. I didn't care when it happened, but I also didn't encourage it. It was one of those weird things deeply neurodivergent people and COVID created. This was met with a proper response from her boyfriend, which was, "That's fucking weird as shit." And she doubled down, saying it was funny, etc. I responded saying that I heard and saw their bathroom habits, but I didn't comment. She wanted to know hers, and initially I refused because I told her it would genuinely upset her. Both her and her boyfriend kept goading me to the point of me relenting, which I probably shouldn't have done. For additional context, she does this quite often, and I have never, until now, taken the bait. So I told her that for the time I lived with her, I have had to flush the toilet after she has used the bathroom when I go in after her because pretty consistently she's taken a shit and it did not flush all the way. I didn't care that much, but felt that I did need to bring it to her attention at the time. Immediately, she shut me down, blamed the plumbing of the house, and accused me of making it up, When I said I have done it as recently as a month ago, which I did in someone else's house, she proceeded to give me the silent treatment for the drive to my car. According to our mutual friend she spent the night with, she arrived in tears and has not texted or called or anything since, which seems a little dramatic, but everyone's feelings are their own. I'm aware this is a ridiculous situation. I don't feel like I need to apologize. That's not my question.
No.
All that said, she is a bridesmaid in a wedding of our mutual friend that is happening in 2
Everything
months.
on this podcast is, that being said, I'll see them at this wedding.
Assuming status quo, how should I interact with her at the wedding? Do I avoid her, be extra nice to her, or just act like everything is normal? The bride knows the situation. She was the one she spent the night with. P.S. At this point in time, I don't consider her a friend because of this repeated behavior pattern, and I am not trying to repair the relationship on my end. Thanks for any perspective you have on this shitty situation.
Hilarious. I mean, she can dish it out, but she can't take it. And so basically you're telling me that this girl you were friends with a while ago would routinely, when you went to pee, be quiet so they could listen and then make fun of your strong stream. And then when you were like pushed to it, you're like, okay, you take Jurassic dumps and they don't flush. And it's happened enough that I've noticed that this is a pattern, to which she was like, oh my God, it's the plumbing. This is the number one critique people have of me. It's the plumbing. She had that like ready to go. And you also brought up that she takes a shit in front of her boyfriend. So she's not going to forgive you ever. This person is immature. This person, it's not funny if you can't give it back. And she's just, I hate the word bully because it's always like, I'm a victim, they're a bully, but like, it's just one-sided. Like, that's not a fun friendship other than me and Emily, where you just like constantly are mean to someone. But they worked for you, so you have like a special bond, and now you're just kind of coworkers, but they still kind of take shit from you. All the while knowing Emily could like decimate me, knowing very personal things about me. So it's a respect. You as a woman, you feel this need to like make it right and reach out. And you're right. I would never tell you to apologize. Plus you shouldn't. She can dish it out, but she can't take it back. So you feel bad for her. See her. Good luck to her bringing it up at a wedding. You told people I took big turd. Like, yeah.
Her response was such a
insane.
Like, well, no, it was so like, didn't abdicate. Like, instead of saying, I don't know, that must have been someone else, it was like, the plumbing wasn't strong enough for my giant turds.
I make big thunder dumps, and modern day plumbing is no match for my digestion.
Like, she should have said, I don't know what you're talking about, but it's so.
No, she should have laughed at that.
Right. Well, exactly. If she thinks that it was funny to laugh at you. Yeah. I mean, she goaded you into it. You just go to the wedding, and if she approaches you, you act normal. Don't apologize. Don't be rude. Just act like any idiot that you see.
If she says anything mean, be like, shouldn't you be taking a shit somewhere and wrecking some copper plumbing?
Copper plumbing.
Shouldn't you be filling up a toilet bowl somewhere? Shouldn't you be making a turd traffic somewhere? Shouldn't you be wrecking this building? Shouldn't you be adding to the bride and groom's tab because they got to call a plumber? Shouldn't you be off making some plumber's day? Like, just, this is not your friend. It's so uncomfortable because it's about poop, but like, this is not on you. It's on her. She's the one who acted immature. I would really not give this a second thought. You already had like kind of lost the friendship because you'd moved away. Like, you don't need this.
She was so embarrassed already because she was like, remember when I used to listen to you pee? And her boyfriend was like, what are you talking about? Like, she had already lost him at that. And so she was scrabbling to salvage the situation by making you seem weirder, and it didn't work.
It's also like a weird kind. It's not even a practical joke, but like listening in on something private, especially if you were sick and you were like, we listen to you and you sounded awful. It's like, LOL, I was sick. But like to do it multiple times.
Right.
Is she jealous of you? Because that's such a weird thing to grasp for. Like you're peeing. Like we all pretty much, unless you have like thick yogurt pee, like it all, it's healthy if you have a lot of pee. I'm just saying, this person sounds like the worst.
Yeah.
This person sounds like a mean little girl.
Yeah. You don't need her. Have fun at the wedding.
She's the kind of girl that would like put your hand in like a cold bowl of water at a sleepover and be like, you pissed yourself. Isn't that funny? And then if you're like, shut up, you're like, I can't believe your hate speech. Fuck her.
Yeah. Dear Emily, Iliza, et al. I have an unusual situation, but the stakes are low, so let's dive in. My name is Brendan. I'm 37, male, gay. Met a guy for a lunch date back in the summer of 2008. Let's call him Jerry. I blocked off a 2-hour window.
Why would you call him Jerry?
I blocked off a 2-hour window before an afternoon work shift, and we sat and bonded over a shared obsession with automobiles. At one point, he told me how much he loved the Volvo 780 Bertone. I told him how much I like the facelifted design of the 2002 BMW 3 Series. Just two car nerds in a pod. When we were finished with lunch, we walked around the neighborhood and continued our conversation until it was time for me to head to work. We texted sporadically after that first date and tried to make plans to attend the Seattle Auto Show in the fall, but the timing didn't work with our mismatched work schedules, and we eventually fell out of touch. Back in 2015, I saw Jerry twice waiting tables at a cozy French bar in town, but since I was there on dates with another guy, it felt inappropriate to try to reconnect with him. He wasn't our waiter, and he probably had his hands full with work since he was on the clock. Now it's 2024. And sometimes I still look back fondly on that lunch date with Jerry almost 16 years ago. I was socially awkward as a young adult, less so now, so the ease and smoothness of our first conversation are especially memorable to me. I'm not really looking to date anyone right now. I just think Jerry would be a good hang since we're both gay and we're both car enthusiasts. I've thought about texting him, but I realize it could feel very weird to hear from someone you met one time 16 years ago. What if he doesn't remember me? What if he vaguely remembers meeting me, but the conversation just wasn't that memorable? I don't know how to break the ice, but this could turn into a lifelong regret if I don't try reaching out someday. Do you have any advice? Thank you both. And Iliza, I'll see you in Eugene in August. Iliza, you're about to turn on this man. Are you ready?
Why, is there more information?
I skipped your Seattle shows last November because cold weather is just the worst.
Okay, whatever. You know what?
Buy Eugene.
Buy a VIP supplement and all is forgiven. Cold weather's the worst. What are you doing? If it's on your mind 15 years later, 16 years later, you stand to lose nothing by just texting him. It's funny to me that you still have his number.
And it might have changed.
It might have changed, but I'm sure you could track him down, Facebook, whatever. I don't think you need that much piping. I think you could literally text him and be like, hey, Jerry. You don't have to be like, is this still your number? Because no one is going to like not be Jerry and be like, yeah, it is. It totally is. I just look different now. Also, I'm a different color and I'm a woman and I'm married with 3 kids. Is this still your number? I think you could just be like, I had the most random thought. You popped into my head. Are you around? How are you? Like, you don't have to be like, I was thinking about our conversation. It probably is not as great as you remember. Hopefully you've evolved a lot from it, but just, you stand to lose nothing. Either he doesn't write back, he thinks it's weird, or he's like, hey, I think about you too.
Here's exactly what you do. No, I have the easiest solution to this. You say, hey, I'm going to the Seattle Car Show this year. Did you want to go?
No, Emily. You fucking kidding?
What?
Hey, I haven't seen you since 2015 and that was brief and we didn't talk because someone was a waiter. Do you want to go on a date? No.
I'm finally going to the Seattle. How about I'm finally going to the Seattle Car Show? Will you be there?
No, because you haven't talked in like 8 years.
But I feel like that's a good excuse to start the conversation.
No, that is awful. That is like so much commitment. Like, how about a conversation? How about texting a little bit?
All right.
He could be married. He could be a billion things.
Well,
and you don't want, and then he's like,
friend.
oh, my husband doesn't want to go.
Our guy wants a friend.
No,
I mean, no, he doesn't. He's saying he does, but
you don't want a friend. You want more than that. And you need to get in touch with that and get right with Jesus. Send him a text. Be like, hey, you popped into my head. Just wondering how you're doing. And if he's not into you at all, he'll be like, I'm good. Hope you're well. And if he is, he'll be like, oh my God, I thought about you. And then you go from there. And then when you're on your date, you can be like, I always really loved our conversation. I just don't think you need to lay it all out in this text.
You don't think there has to be like, I saw 2002's Citroen Pergola.
Because Citroen Pergola, you know, a totally normal car that everybody drives. Citroen Pergola. I saw a 1520 croissant. I just think because that conversation, you're remembering a conversation from 15 years ago. He probably remembers it too. You want to give yourself an out. Like there could be just don't go so heavy.
All right.
Just in case there's no room there. And then you can reveal like, oh my God, I think about that conversation. Like, did you ever get your Citroen Pergola? But just lightly. But yeah, reach out. If it's this much on your mind, I also wonder if it would be this much on your mind if you were in a relationship. But if it's still in your mind and you still remember, you're pretty lucid on the details from 15 years ago, it's definitely worth you reaching out.
Yeah. I mean, what? He could ignore you. There you go.
Yeah. Citroen Pergola is so funny. It does sound like a car.
Isn't it? It does. I mean,
2015
there's like a Puget. That's a car, right? And like there's a Citroen. I got some pieces of those syllables are right.
First of all, as you said it, you're talking about, I was thinking of, I want to say I thought it was a watch, and then I think of a different brand, but I guess it's pronounced Peugeot.
Oh, excuse me. That's the same. That's exactly what I said.
2015 butterscotch Peugeot.
Oh, it's a cute car. Yeah. Tell them about that.
It comes in a little wrapper with a little plaid hat.
Werther's original.
Next question. I don't know what we're talking about. Yeah. I drive a Werther's original.
This is us trying to talk about cars. After talking about we hate men, and here's what we know about cars.
Don't even say that.
I know.
It's too easy. This is such a nuanced thing. Can you?
I know.
I like how men can be routinely horrific to women, but they aren't labeled as women haters. It's like, no, I just don't like bitches. But I'm like, oh, I don't like it when I don't feel safe. It's like, it's because you hate men. There's no space for nuance here.
No.
Please name this episode a Citroen Pergola. Because car enthusiasts will swipe. They'll be like, oh, wow, finally a podcast for me. They brought back car guys. Yeah, NPR.
Car talk. Yeah.
Right. Car talk.
All right.
We're back.
Hi, Iliza, Emily, and all the furry and naked kidlets. I only have about 1.5 years left of old episodes to listen to, but I haven't heard this question yet. I'm a 31-year-old girl, been dating my 35-year-old boyfriend for 5 years, lived together for 2. We have had serious talks about getting married, and from the beginning, he's always said he would want a prenup. Some context. I grew up pretty poor. We used to stop and pick up pop cans along the road, 10 cents in Michigan, to pay for groceries, and we spent 1.5 years without hot water when I was a kid because my parents couldn't afford it. He, on the complete other hand, had a nanny as a kid. College was paid for, receives 5-figure Christmas gifts, and will likely receive at least a 7-figure inheritance. We make very similar 6-figure salaries now. My only asset is my car. With all that being said, I don't know anything about prenups.
Is it a Citroen Pergola?
I don't know anything about prenups beyond that they protect your things in a divorce. Should I feel a little offended? Because I do. Get my own lawyer. I don't think the prenup is really for me, and I don't think they will try to take advantage of my lack of experience, but I'm not sure how to move forward emotionally and prenuptially. Thanks for all your sage wisdom and smiles. Love, Anna.
Anna, everybody should get a prenup. They're for both of you.
Yes.
I don't know where you live. I don't know if you live in Michigan. I know in California, the law only favors the weak, but it is there to protect people. And I say that because once you have kids, whatever is in your prenup kind of goes out the window. This is done because he comes from a lot of money, and they want to make sure that you are not entitled to that money if you're married for like 2 years, you know? It doesn't sound like you're going to stop working anytime soon. That is why everything goes out the window once you have kids, because it's a totally different thing. You have to get a lawyer. The shitty part about getting a prenup is that it's really unsexy and it takes the romance out of everything. And you have to hire a lawyer. And then it's just, you could even just have a boilerplate prenup, which is basically saying, hey, he's marrying, you guys are getting married. But if this becomes acrimonious and you divorce, you're both walking away with what you came into it with. Like, you're not entitled to any money, which is kind of fair. Unless you're giving up something, giving up years that you could be working to just be a wife to him, in which case you kind of would be entitled to something because you were supporting him. So I don't mean to say this in a mean way, but you do have to grow up and you have to do it and you do have to get a lawyer, and that is shitty, but it does not have to be painful. It can just be done. And I think you just want to make it easy, but you do want to be protected. This is for both of you.
Yes.
This is like, God forbid, let's just say he was like, you guys were married for 5 years, and in that 5-year time, he was like, hey, quit your job and just travel with me. Or, oh, let's say you want to get pregnant and you need to do IVF. So let's say you have to stop working because it's stressful, whatever thing. You will have lost income and you don't want to leave that marriage with nothing, especially when you were doing something for the both of you. So there's a lot of nuance to it. If you have like a lot of money, then they structure things like after, like look at Janet Jackson and like the Prince of Jordan or whatever. Like she got like X amount if she had a kid and then she fucking bolted from that relationship. When people have a lot of money, it's like after 10 years, you get this amount, after this amount. Women get this kind of money because there are years that you can have children. There are years of lost wages from not having a job. So there's a lot to it.
Yes. I can see why, coming from the position you are, you feel a little insulted, because I think you're thinking it's because of your income, and it's not.
Yeah,
if he had not asked for a prenup, you should, even though you have less assets,
Right.
It's not an insult to you. It's not a judgment on your character at all. It's just smart.
It's just smart. And honestly, this is why people have contracts. Money changes people. Marriage changes people. You're 31. You are not going to be the same person at 36. He also could turn out to be a piece of shit. If you guys are married for 6 years and you have no kids and he cheats on you and you end up hating this guy, then you might be like, you know what? I deserve something for all the time I spent with you. Like, you just do not know the future. This is for both of you. That's why both of you get a lawyer.
Right.
And if you truly don't care, then you just sign a boilerplate one and you're like, I'll come into this. I'll leave with what I had. You got to redo it all when you have kids anyway. Yeah. It's smart. And that is a little peek into your world of money management from people that have money, which you hope to one day. So go along with it.
Yeah. Hi, Eliza and Emily. Eliza, I saw your show and met Noah in Boston last year. I live there. This will be relevant later. Definitely a highlight of my year. And by the way, this person is 39, no kids. Love the pod, especially Emily's cat stories. Longtime listener, I finally have a question I'd love your take on. To the point, my mom is getting married. I'm so happy for her. My dad passed away 12 years ago. He was much older than my mom, and she took care of him for many years before he died. And my mom has been traveling and enjoying her life since then. She's almost 70 now and has been spending time with a man she met at the senior center in their small southwestern town. I met him when I visited last year, and he seems kind and genuine, and they are happy spending time together doing all their community activities. They're planning on getting married sometime in the next year or so after some details are ironed out. She has asked me, her only child, to stand with her and be a witness at their small ceremony, which I am honored and happy to do. She has always supported and loved me through my relationships, and I will do the same for her. The angle where I'm conflicted and need your perspective is financial. I stand to inherit a significant amount of money from my mom, which she inherited from my dad. I receive a yearly allowance from this inheritance now, which is large enough that it allows me to own a modest home and work part-time doing something I love instead of renting and working full-time at a stressful job I hate. I still live below my means and try to make sensible decisions and be a good steward of this money. I consider myself so fortunate, but of course this money comes with some complicated feelings of having more than I deserved or have earned, but it is what it is. So my question is twofold. One, how do I communicate with love that I am nervous about my inheritance and future financial situation now that she will have a husband? She said she wants to get a prenup, but would it be too heavy-handed for me to ask to review it before it's signed? I trust my mom and her fiance seems genuine, but you hear horror stories about this exact scenario and it makes me nervous. I don't want money to come between anyone involved, but I want to make sure my mom and I are protected while also making sure her husband will have what he needs. 2, What should I get or do for them as a wedding gift? Any money I would spend on a gift is ultimately my mom's money anyway, so that feels weird. I'll be traveling there to celebrate with them, so I've been racking my brain for a creative way to honor her and them while I'm there, or something I could make for them, but I'm coming up empty. You're the wedding gift guru, Eliza, and I need your help. Thank you in
I'm not
advance.
a wedding
Laura.
guru.
Let me make
What?
sure.
I don't
That's
want
the
this.
number one thing people know about you. I just said that, not her.
First of all, you need to have a very frank adult conversation with your mom about that money. If they are married for the next 20 years, he might be, and God forbid, she dies before him. He should get some money for taking care of her, for being there. Like, there should be something to ease at him. He's definitely not working, and hopefully he has his own savings or pension. I don't know. Not only do you need to have that conversation, I think it's totally fair that you ask that, because this is the life that you have. It doesn't matter if you are entitled to that money or you feel weird about the money. It's your money and it is going to you. But some should be earmarked for him after a certain amount of time. They're married for 3 years, maybe then, but you want to make sure this guy's not going to murder your mom and inherit everything. One way to save a lot of money is to put it in a trust. Then he can't get to it. And I know this because I have someone very close to me who's going through this, where money was left for them. And the girlfriend who took care of the guy who died just took everything. These things happen.
Yeah.
So as much as your mom loves this guy, and he might be, and you know what? If he is the greatest guy ever, he will be totally cool with all this.
Yep.
If he stutters for a second, then there's something weird there.
I'm curious how the money was structured. You get an allowance. So is there already a trust? Is there an amount you get at some certain point? I'm wondering what the paperwork was that had to do with what your father left and what would go to you, because it sounds like with him being much older, I would hope that the lawyers structured in, when the mom's still young, what happens if she gets married, talk to her about what's already in place. I feel like it's an uncomfortable conversation because you don't want to be like, Mom, I'm so happy for you, but what about my money? But you have to.
Yeah, but
you need to know what's
you're
going
70.
on. Yeah.
She's 70. And that's, people don't talk about these things because they're uncomfortable or it's uncouth. And then someone dies and you're scrambling. The best thing your mom can do for you is make sure that it's all buttoned up. The best thing she can do for both of you, so that this is awful. If and when she dies, you can grieve properly and you don't have to be like diving into financial arguments. That's awful. That's not how you're going to want to live your time. So have that conversation. And a good wedding gift, it's tough when someone's that old because they don't enjoy the same things that you do. Take them to dinner. Ask her what she wants. Are they going on a vacation? Can you arrange something? Couples massage?
Yeah.
Sort
You
of
want an
motorized
experience that you share with her or them or what, like do something that you guys all love doing. Like something where it's, because you can't give them anything they can't buy for themselves, but you can spend time with them, do a cooking class, I don't know, set up early nights, take care of all the details for them to have a really great day out together, do all the
something.
Something personal.
You know what? Honestly, like a really nice picture frame and get the picture developed from their wedding. Be like, I'll handle all that. Or just like a nice picture, just something. I mean, at 70, she pretty much has everything. An experience. You don't need to get bogged down with tchotchkes. They don't care. Nice dinner at like a fun restaurant that you think they'll like. That could be cool.
Yeah.
For my mom's 70th birthday, I took her to Bermuda and it was an adequate trip. But we did go beekeeping, which I hated, but she loved it. So that was weird. But, some women love fun experiences like that. Ask her. Maybe a wedding gift is something the two of you do. I don't know. Experience versus stuff, or a really nice picture frame.
Maybe a day out, and maybe you always spend time with them doing their stuff. Maybe you spend a day individually with each of them and you do something that each of them likes, and you just say, and so you say to the new husband, like, I'm so excited. You're so great for my mom. I love that you spend time with him, and then you spend like mom-daughter time. Like, I'm so glad you have this new person in your life. The bond between us will never change, blah, blah, blah.
You could get him a really nice urn and be like, for when the time comes, just know I got you, Gary. All right. Top of the cup.
Top of the cup.
It's the top of the cup. We're doing it right every day. You just take a bite, top of the cob.
My top of the cob is very specific to me, but I would imagine anybody who works hard at their job has something similar. I know Noah has a version of this from when he was like actually working in a restaurant, and I'm sure there's a Japanese word to summarize this, like the deep satisfaction of exhaustion from working and the break that comes with it. I played just for funsies, I played the Brea Improv this weekend, and I have spent my career, when I'm home, I'll go do a weekend at the Brea Improv or not anymore, the Oxnard Improv or the Irvine Improv. You know, these are all these like Southern California improvs, and it's always a schlep. It always takes 2 hours to get there, and then you do a night of shows. It's the coming home on a Saturday night, and I did it this last weekend. Usually Hunter's with me, but he wasn't with me for this one. But just driving back on the 5, which is for 20 years has been under construction at 1 a.m. Like, I don't know what they're doing, what they can't get done. But it's that deep satisfaction of slipping back into your city, like seeing downtown, quietly sliding back into LA under the cloak of night. I used to listen to Loveline. They don't have that on the radio anymore. And getting home and sitting at the counter, everybody's sleeping, and it's like 1 a.m, and checking my phone and sort of decompressing, and that like deep satisfaction of waking up on a Sunday morning, knowing that you worked that weekend. Like knowing that there's no anxiety about your career or life, regardless of what's going on, because you did so much. You did 4 hours of stand-up, which is not a lot in this, like in the grand scheme of things, but that satisfaction of I worked, I get to wake up now and just like have a Sunday. You also get that when you work really hard and you travel and you wake up, you come home early Sunday morning, you take a nap and you wake up at like noon, and you just get to have that day. Whether you're married or you have kids or you don't, and I've been through all these, that it's just a deep satisfaction. And it was nice to be reminded of that because I'm about to start touring again, but it was nice to slip in, listen to the radio for the hour home, wake up, all is quiet. I just like it. It's just and Noah has that. He's like, you work a whole day in a kitchen, then you come home and like drink a beer in the shower, which you will get water in that beer, but I get it. It's the same thing. I'm sure other people have examples of that. Maybe you with a grape soda and a TV dinner. And the original episode of SVU. After a long day.
Her hair was so good in the first season.
A long day of posting. Anyways, that's it. That satisfaction. That's my top.
It's a good one. Our fan top. Here's my fan top of the cob, or maybe this is just a general thumbs up from one of your 6 straight male listeners. I am really digging the sound production these past few months. I've noticed Scott is adding extra little tidbits here and there, and I totally appreciate it.
As much as I want to take the credit, even though it's not mine, Scott is doing a phenomenal job. And
he gets this show and he gets you. Like, he just gets you.
In a way that most people don't see me. And I will listen back to this podcast for quality assurance, not because of egomania. And I will laugh out loud at some of those strategically placed weird sound bites. Like, they're not always reactionary. Like, I say goodbye and then there's a door slam. Like, he'll add an effect or like a strange noise, and it's
sometimes
just
he'll make them himself. Like,
you can tell. You can tell that they're homemade, handcrafted noises.
Yeah. Yeah, they're great.
We love it. And I love that you noticed that. And I think that sets us apart. We have an audio engineer who gives a shit, and I love it.
Yeah.
On behalf of the flight crew, thank you for flying with us and have a pleasant stay.
Yeah. My top of the cob was I was in such a bad mood all weekend, and then I got not a gift, but something I was excited about that I'd forgotten about. There's this comedian singer that I love, Caroline Banowitz, does like these great funny videos for Barstool and stuff, and she's a great singer as well. And she had posted like, pre-save my song on Spotify and send me your email and I'll write you a custom song. And I was like, oh, 1 million people are going to do that. I'll try it, but she's never going to do it. She sent me a custom song yesterday. She sang about my cats. It included my name. Like, it was so good. It was such a genuinely good song that I was just like, oh my God, like what talent. And so that really brightened my day.
I could do that for you. I do it all the time for my own dog.
If I write me a custom song.
I could. Did I talk about the way my dad smells? Did I talk about this?
You talked about that time he caused a national incident in Vegas, but not a separate
you're
smell.
right. That was a matter of national security for sure. Talking about clogging a pipe. No, my dad and my stepmom came to visit, and sometimes men wear a lot of cologne, and I'm very sensitive to smells. But
you're the most sensitive.
But sensitive implies that I'm like, oh, you had mouthwash this morning, and I can't handle it. It's less that and more like I can just smell. Like if you burned incense yesterday, I will smell it on you today. So it's less that it's bad and more that I could just tell.
Yeah.
And I was like, Dad, I got to be honest with you. I think you're wearing too much cologne. Now, I'm saying this respectfully as his daughter, and I know that my dad's on the podcast and you guys have heard him. This wasn't like a body odor thing. I was like, I think it's too much cologne.
Yeah.
And it's the type of, first of all, too much cologne is awful in general, but it was also the type of cologne like wasn't pleasing to me. Like it was like deep. Like it wasn't like a cool fragrance. Like it was musky, like almost like oud. It's in like a lot of like Middle Eastern sort of like high-end colognes. And I was like, then I got it in my head. I was like, it smells like wealthy and Middle Eastern, but it's like too much. And he's like, stop, I'm not wearing cologne. I'm like, it's like you smell like an Arabian horse. It was like an Iraqi business meeting. Like it was just expensive, but too strong. And I kept saying Arabian horse because it was funny. But my dad was like, I'm not wearing any cologne. And I'm like, that's crazy. And I think you are. And I think you're fucking with me. And then I was like, and then Barbara's like, maybe it's his aftershave. He's like, I'm not wearing aftershave. And I'm like, but you did shave. And something had to, like, there is a product that you're wearing. And it felt like the more I asked, the more he would like dig his heels in that he wasn't wearing anything, but nobody smells like this naturally.
Yeah.
And it has left my guest room smelling like it. This is going on 2 weeks now. And I've been unable to open the actual window in here, and I don't know why, but like I've brought in another candle and I've burned a candle, and like it's like this, the way a cigarette lingers, even if someone hasn't smoked forever. It's Arabian horse musk, deep amber. Dad, you brought something and it lives in my walls now, and I can't have it again. So be prepared next time to come totally naked.
Get sniffed at the door.
And it was like, the more I was like, what is it? He's like, stop. I'm not wearing anything. Stop it. I'm like, then it followed you like a Japanese ghost in a horror movie. It's on your back. It's around you. And I'm just saying. It smells like a Middle Eastern.
You need to go to his
barn.
house and smell all his products.
In general, I'm like, there's a lot of cologne here, but I never said anything. And now that it's lived in my guest room, I'm going to start charging this smell rent because it's lingered way too long. It's violated all the Airbnb guidelines. That's it. It was just really hard to have that conversation with you, Dad, because I think you're lying to me and I think you think it's funny and I don't like it. It's upsetting the animals. All right, go ahead.
Fan bottom. The top pharmacist at CVS yesterday said, I don't know, when I asked when I could fill my prescription. I wasn't surprised. I asked in a flat manner that I was just curious as to why she thought it was acceptable for the person in charge to say, I don't know, as an acceptable answer. So it's not just shitty customer service anymore. It's none, with no, forgive the word, apology. Soon it will just be, give off, fucker. I don't know what give off means, but yeah.
I know, I'm going to say this knowing that we have a lot of pharmacists. I just wonder if that's going to be replaced by AI, because I've never listened when a pharmacist is like, let me tell you about this medication. I'm like, oh, the thing that's typed on the side of the bottle that's also on Google that my doctor already told me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm good. I also will never forget CVS for when I filled my birth control prescription there for years. One day them being like, you're not in the system. I'm like, nope, I am. I am. And
it was a fight every time.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It like if was there a follow like I don't know, let me check. But just being like I don't know, you're like I need this
Right.
medication. I'm not here for fun.
Right. Yeah.
But post COVID, you're not allowed to criticize a worker. I don't know if you've noticed that.
Yeah.
Like you will be canceled. Like that pharmacist could have told you to kill yourself, and it would be like, you know what? They have a right. They're working hard. You
right. They've had
probably
a hard
should.
day. Yeah. Yeah.
Emily, what's your bottom?
My bottom is actually related because it has to do with corporate or company gaslighting. I am having a massive incident at work, which is Facebook shut down our page saying it's deactivated for going against guidelines. Now, here is the problem. Not only is it a huge problem for my job, but it's a huge problem because we had gotten weird warnings. We had a call with them and we said, hey, we're getting these warnings. Here are the emails. I forwarded them to you. We're not doing anything wrong. We're not sure what this is. And they said, those emails are phishing attempts. Those aren't from us. That's not our email address. And we're like, it is your email address. It's listed on your site. Oh, okay. Well, we'll start a support case, but, don't worry about it. And we've looked at your account and your account looks fine. So I opened the support case and I sent the emails and I'm like, yeah, these, I don't know what these are. These aren't anything. We've looked on our end. Your account's fine. Next day, account deactivated, not just deactivated, like for a little bit. They said, we're so sorry to lose your business and we hope you find other ways to advertise because we will not be reopening and good luck to you. Like,
whoa,
shut us down. Like, I'm hoping we can get the page back. There's a very real possibility it's gone forever and we have to start over again. And it was like hundreds of thousands of people, posts, that they had said, we had seen these weird emails from them and said, hey, we need help. Something is going on. No, nothing's going on. This customer service that's really apparent with Meta and with other companies where they're clearly going off a list. And if you're not asking them a question on the list, they're like, I don't know, it's fine. I am so stressed and upset. And they're just like, I don't know, you broke a rule. And we're like, we had 3 calls last week where you said we didn't break a rule. Well, you broke one. Bye. What?
Yeah, that's incredibly frustrating because you were... It's not like they were gaslighting you, but like there's something wrong. They're like, there's absolutely nothing to worry about. And because it's a free service, like you have no recourse. Like there's no contract between your company. And that's what people don't think about. Like when you have your business on Instagram or TikTok, they don't owe you anything. Yep.
We've spent thousands with them. We will be spending thousands. So we thought that would be the solve. And then when they literally said, we're so sorry to lose your business. This was a hard decision to make. It's like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Like, it's insane. And to then have to go to your boss, insane. Like, I can't fix, I can't make them bring us back. I didn't do anything wrong, but this is a big problem. So I am wildly stressed.
That is awful.
Yeah.
Because you did everything right. Oh.
Right. Yeah. So I'm
so
mad.
Sorry. I'm mad for you. I'm mad that you have a normal job. That sucks.
I know.
I'm sorry. Well, folks, that was our episode today. Please keep writing. I like the amount of male involvement in my career, not on Mother's Day, but on the show, with the fight me's and the top of the cobs and the bottom of the cobs. So please keep listening. And if you want to help our show, this is where most people turn off. Please recommend the show to a friend. Send a clip to someone you hate. Someone's clogging up your toilet. Here's the advice. But please share this. Please convert as many people as possible. Proselytize all day long. And we got something fun planned for the 300th episode. Cat's digging in Emily's back, but she's okay.
What's the good one?
Appears. The good one. Oh, my good back.
It's a good cat.
I know. 300th episode's coming up. You can get your tickets to see me on the road, Iliza.com/tour. We've got an awesome tour coming up. All the things that I normally say. You don't need me to tell you to like and subscribe and write a review, but it's always nice.
Please do.
And as always, if you can't take it, don't dish it out. Especially if you got real bad gut plumbing.
Need turkey tips? Our Butterball Turkey Talk line is open. We'll help with what's on the table so you can focus on those around it. Call 1-800-BUTTERBALL or text 844-877-3456. Butterball. Today, we turkey.